Pencil. Ooh, Storybook Land. Ooh. Hey, good morning. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Hope everybody's doing well. It's Sunday. It is 6:29. Actually, with this show, one of the benefits, we fixed all the clocks. They're all the same. I think it's just, all 6:30 up there. But pretty close. Everything's within a minute or two. Hey, good morning. It's Greg Mester. I'm Agile coach and Scrum Master. And I'm with you 7 days a week doing Agile Mester Scrum around 5 a.m. And it's called 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. This is show 55. I'm going to do this early now, 55, for the podcast people out there. And what we do is we talk about Agile and Scrum, do a couple topics as we go. Today, I'm going to follow up on the improving your team's 30 to 50%. However, I'll say this one section, we're going to talk about automation a little bit. We'll actually probably bump you up past that if you actually do it the way it's supposed to be done. And I got a couple things to talk about. I'm not going to dive into any one particular area, but in future shows, we'll pick areas of automation and how to do it and where I've seen the returns and some like tactical items. So we're just going to kind of stay high right now because we just want to get that 30, 50% improvement on our teams. And how do we get there? Even the most smallest basic teams that haven't done it before can do this. And but before I get into there, I just want a lot of times the teams that hesitate to get into the automation part haven't done it before, or their manager or their tech lead hasn't done it before. And yesterday was a great example. It was all unplanned work for me all day long, just like in the book. I keep plugging this, the Phoenix Project, right? So it was interesting. We went to the indoor rock climbing thing again yesterday with the kids, and apparently now I have to learn how to do rock climbing. Now, if I at 51 years old can learn rock climbing, then anybody out there can learn to do automated testing, right? I'm overweight. I got to do this because apparently my kids want to go a lot more, and it's cheaper for me to learn how to do it and hold the belay so the kids can do it all day long than it is for me to pay the $25 every time they want to do it 3 times. This way they can do it all day long to the tired. They can rest, go up and down and all around, but I'll have that groundwork and then we can just do it all day long. And and I had this way off topic. I had the pencil later. I'll bring the pencil back tomorrow. But anyway, so one of the guys was going across the wall at the bottom, one of the instructors, and he was going on like, I'm telling my daughter, I'm like, hey, Isabel, I said, look at the guy going across the wall, right? He's this Spider-Man across the wall. And she turns to me and says, Dad, that's called bouldering. And I'm just looking at her like, how did you know it was called bouldering? So a lot of these teams, I mean, you're looking at this, I haven't done it before and all this kind of stuff. And I just look at her, I'm like, huh. So you are paying attention to what's going on in the world, aren't you? A lot of these leads, quote leads, hold their teams back from doing automation or the business people because they don't understand the benefit of it, don't know it. However, the teams do. The young people coming out that code and everything, they like the automated testing. They like automating stuff so they don't have to do it. So I'm just going to go with that. Is that if you want to use it, like I'm an old guy. I'm getting old, still doing stuff. Got young kids, so I got to keep up with it. But if they listen, pay attention. And what I see a lot of teams that hold these teams back are leads, managers, business people that don't give the people the chance to do it, and they don't listen to their people. Like leaders are supposed to listen to the people, not necessarily dictate to the people what to do. So anyway, this is a good example where my daughter just says, it's called bouldering, Dad. A classic teenager, right? Uh-oh. I think somebody's waking up. Yeah. But anyway, he's going to have to go back upstairs, or he's got to put, you need that. Put that on. No. Put the shirt on. Anyway, kids coming down and be on the show, I guess. So you put it on. You can't. There's the boy. You waking up. And again, this is why we do 5 a.m. Mester Scrum and not 6:30 Mester Scrum, because somebody it's 6:30. It's late. We're late. I know, and he is awake. Thanks for letting us know you're awake, Ed. Appreciate it. Thumbs up. Okay. He's up. Good morning, everybody. The boy is awake. We can say good morning. Good morning on the typer, on the computer. Anyway, so back to automated tests. So there is a group. I've been following this lady, Angie Jones, and I think she's the first one I actually plugged. And I wrote it down in my little book, Tech Girl 1908. And she's working with the AP, I guess it's Applet Tools, APPLITOOLS. So this is a group, they help bring Selenium IDE back so that you can run it. Even I can do Selenium. I'm like, cool. I was so excited when they brought it back. I was doing it on Chrome and did my website, and there's a blog post up there about me doing it. So I did that. But they have like a free university for anybody to take. So if you don't know enough about automation tests, I really encourage just watch the videos. I mean, it's just what it is. It's a free video. It doesn't cost you anything but time. You know, it goes back to my post earlier in the year. I think I was posting, and I post stuff about Arnold Schwarzenegger did a speech about, spending an hour a day, getting better, right? So if you spend an hour a day going through all the tool sets that they have, or at least things you really need to do, you'll be pretty knowledgeable on how to do this automation test. So that's a tool I want, go check it out. It's called Test Automation University. I get the things on all the time. I've gone through a couple of them, not a lot of them, to be honest with you. I need to go through them, but I've been doing this stuff. But I definitely recommend it. So the two parts, the two items that now knock us over 50% improvement. One is automated unit testing, building a way for developers to automate stuff, to do their automated unit testing. And I'm going to give you a lot of details on how little practical things you can share from a technical perspective to do it better. One organization I work for, I thought it was always interesting that they would do their unit test. They would have to manually get the condition to a point in their data, because they'd blank it out every once in a while because it would get all corrupted, so they blank everything out. Then they have to go manually enter all the data conditions to get where they wanted to be. And one of the things I suggested, why don't you automate that entry process? Because you could use this Selenium IDE tool, and you could just go in there and type the numbers you want. And then every time you blank your data, just click the button. And it'll take a minute for it to fill in all the data to the point where you want it. And in fact, you would have run a test and see if it worked. And they all look at me like, we can do that? I'm like, yeah. So like that alone saved them like 15 minutes every, just getting up to the point where they needed to go. But that's not even unit testing. That's just using the tools to help you do your job, right? Automating that capability. Because it's just a screen. We all use a screen. It's a screen tester. It puts data in. It's really not rocket science. I can do that. And I'm a 51-year-old guy. Anyway, so the automation of unit tests, making it so that one, it'll kick off when people drop, but the whole idea is that people write some unit testing from the beginning and program the automation into everybody's mind from day one. The quicker you get your teams to think automating their unit testing, the quicker they get to helping the testers automate their part of the test, right? And how do you do that? And I can just envision my brain right now. There's all kinds of little shows we can do with just automation, why it is, how you do it. So I'm not going to go into that today because that's a lot, but I'm just saying automating unit testing. And this way also, the developers can see whether or not their code broke someone else's code, and having it written right gets you there quicker, right? it's nothing worse than you have coded something. It's going to break someone else's code. As soon as you launch it, you really don't know if it broke it, because until someone runs the application, you don't know, or runs their own unit testing. And then it goes all the way to QA. And we talked yesterday about getting all these bugs. Well, yeah, because you wrote your code that broke the other person's code, and it's showing up in the testing at the testers, so you get a bug. So all this work can be done way before getting a dumb bug, right? And it's showing up on the other side. I mean, it really makes sense. And automating it just allows it to happen just automatically, right? And you can't automate everything, but there are some things you can automate, just core stuff, that databases, anything. There's a whole suite of stuff out there that allows you to do this. And like I said, I find the technical leads probably the biggest hurdle for getting automation in the group, because they think they're so pressured. They don't see the benefit of automation, but they tell me they have seen it and they understand it, and they understand the benefit of everybody running everybody's unit test, but they sure don't implement it. It makes you wonder sometimes. So that's the automation test side, right? Now the testing side, and I'm not going to go into details. We'll stay high, but we're going to do lots of episodes. This is why I can do this 365 days a week. I mean, there's so much stuff out there, and it evolves every day. Just like this YouTube thing. I'm going to be curious when I close this thing out. Yesterday, the live stream gave me a bunch of options on the screen that weren't there. And I've been doing this every day, so I would have noticed this, right? So yesterday I closed out the YouTube live, hit the end the stream, and then I got a bunch of other options that weren't there before. So change happens all the time, so you just have to be ready for it. So it happens. Anyway, when you do the automation testing, right? What is nice about it, if I write my structure correctly, I can use those automated tests anywhere I want. They don't care, right? And they're compartmentalized. They're bundled in such a way that it's all set up. Now, when you do this, so many teams that do manual testing, and they don't have the automated CI/CD going, right? Every time you move the code from environment to environment, they're running their regression testing. Well, every time you write an automated test in the sprint, that is a regression test. It naturally becomes a regression test. And you can use it in every environment there is, anywhere on the planet, anytime you want. So the time what's nice about this, when you work with, like when I had 10 teams and we all work together, bring the code together every sprint, right? 10 different teams, same code base going in. You launch the automation test and it tells you whether or not everybody broke the code or how it's working. It's really simple, and it's not hard to do. It's just everybody's so darn scared to do it, and we just have to let them do it. And what happens a lot of times, what I see, and I'm going to cut this short. I'm going to make it within 15 minutes today. What I see, and again, you do so many shows. So everybody has these regression suites, and they build this big, massive, spend 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, just people are regression testing all their code. And what scares them, they go, how am I going to do my in-sprint testing and do all this automation, all this regression testing? I got all these test scripts to automate. I'm never going to get started. You know how you get started? You pick a couple and you start. That's the biggest hurdle of going automated in any organization from a testing perspective. They see so much stuff that they have done in the past. And these managers throw out these giant lists of regression tests to their teams. And it scares the crap out of them, right? It just scares them. And they don't know what they don't want to start it. They're really hesitant. Somebody on the team has to pick a couple and start. That's all you got to do, and we'll go more on that. But those two things will actually go past 50%, because just remember, I've seen teams where I've had all my BAs, all my Scrum Masters, all my testers jump on to do regression testing. It's been about 3 weeks. right? All of them. And that means they're not doing any testing in the sprint. They're just doing regression testing. So if I automate this process so that every day the tests are running, I don't need to spend 3 weeks doing regression testing because it's naturally part of the tool. So right there, I just saved you 3 weeks every time for these longer teams. So let's say you left, let's just say you are an old waterfall team and you did a release, what, every 3 months. 3 months, 3 months. Let's say you did it every 3 months. I get a group that does it every 6 months. Did it every 3 months. You did a release, right? So every 3 months, or I can even do it. Let's say they did it once a month. Every month they did a release. They spend 1 week in regression testing. Okay. So if every month, so that's 12 weeks of regression testing. 12 weeks is, and hi Bubbles. What are you doing? Catnapping Bubbles? Oh, there's Bubbles. This show is going along and it's unplanned work.
And
Hi Bubbles.
And Bubbles take over the show.
Bubbles took over the show. Okay.
There's a cat sound.
Bubbles is tired. She's like, you catnap me. So there's Bubbles and the boy. This is again why we want to do this at 5:30, 5 a.m. Hi Eddie. How you doing? So I'm gonna sum up. So you can pass this. So I was saying 12 weeks out of the year. So what is that? A month is 4, right? So if we're not doing all this regression testing, and then we did 1 week of testing, because I know they do it. I watch them, and they do it everywhere. And the other group, they did 3 weeks, and they kept telling me how, I'm like, when was the last time you did a release? Oh, it's been a while. I said, you're in trouble. Anyway, that was another blog post. So 3 weeks. So right there, 12 out of 52 weeks. It's like 20%, right? So at least that alone, and I'm not talking about finding quality bugs, just having it automated versus manually doing it gives you a whole 20% of performance improvement out of your teams, because they're not doing the manual regression test anymore, because the automated test is a regression test. And it happens every day all by itself and no one has to do anything. Oh gosh, sorry, but I went on a rant. Okay, so it's Sunday. We were into it. 17 minutes and 46 seconds. Got a couple interruptions there. And I'm going to see what YouTube does. You can't see it, but when I end my stream, it does something different. This is 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. We're here. We're growing. Show 55. We'll keep on doing it. I'm working on the website this weekend and hopefully release that before I get a lot of unplanned work. And you have an awesome day. Great day. Happy scrumming and take care. Bye.